In 1897, Eiichiro Oda finally created One Piece, and my life now has meaning. So I'm gonna talk about it! Now, if you knew anything about anything, you'd know that One Piece is extremely popular. There's like 100 chapters, which is a lot. And Netflix made it live action, baby! And yeah, maybe Netflix doesn't have the best reputation around. They did bring you the cinematic masterpiece, or disaster, of Tall Girl. But hey, I'd like to give them a chance. I like things. I like to be happy sometimes. Like all of those shitty Disney live-action movies. I know that those were just made for profit, but Netflix can sometimes make good shows. I mean, BoJack Horseman is actually good. Let's get into it. Let's talk about... Alright, first problem I had with the Disney live-action remakes, acting was complete shit. Not only does it sound like a bad SNL skit, but it's also really unfunny. So, imagine my surprise when literally every character in the One Piece live-action was good and well-written. Pretty well casted, too. Like in the original anime, it took me a long time to warm up to Usopp, Nami, and what's-his-face, Sanji. But in the live-action remake, I instantly grew attracted to them sexually because of their great acting abilities. Sanji is so good and charismatic. I love him now. But the best part is these villains, baby! Have you seen Buggy? That guy is amazing! Honestly, Arlong is incredibly intimidating. Kuro kind of sucks. We'll get into that later. And Alvida's also there. But Garp's cool. So is Kobe. I really love what they did with his arc. Seriously, you have not seen perfect casting until you see Monkey D. Luffy. I don't know who's this actor is. I've never seen him in anything else, but dear God, he is great. I love his energy. And honestly, another problem I had was, why do all of those shitty movies look like they've been rendered by CGI people who are freshmen? You know, looks like shit. I mean, there was the incident. We don't talk about that, though. So if for some goddamn reason you haven't seen the show, first, watch it. And second, they have this thing called Devil Fruit powers, and one of them is for Luffy, who makes him really stretchy. And if you haven't seen any CGI live-action movie in the last 20 years, usually stretchiness looks awful, and that's about it. And it doesn't, so... And Buggy, who has this weird ability where he can get cut a lot, it's weird. It also looks great. Like, I wasn't expecting... it kind of looks like a Play-Doh character, but I guess that's fine, you know? Stylistic choice. I'll accept that. Anyway, there's not only powers in the live-action world, there's also a bunch of random sea monsters, like that one in episode 1 that never gets brought up and basically gets one shot in the manga. And then the one fish guy that everybody actually cares about, Arlong. You know, that guy. I really like the way that they show the bones individually in his nose. I always felt like I wanted to rip them out, which I don't know if that's good character writing or development, but I liked it, okay? And, well, the rest of them kind of look a little janky. They kind of look like that one CGI'd photo of a blobfish, but they were supposed to look disgusting, so, you know, I'll take it. Alright, mother cuckers, but I don't know that you're not actually here for that. You're here about the world building. Because if you know anything about One Piece, it's that it's really slow paced. Like, sometimes the fight scenes will drag on for an hour and a half, which is an anime trope, I do know that, but it's even more egregious. But what this also does is that the One Piece world has godlike levels of character development. And I was kind of confused how they were going to translate that, because if you don't know, they basically took 50 episodes and shoved them down into 8, which I was a bit concerned going in, but I really like what they do with them. Basically, they cut out a bunch of unnecessary fights that they put in between and keep all the fun shit. I mean, they keep all the good shit, and some of the, like, smaller characters are left to be references and Easter eggs, like the mayor, the restaurant, that weird rock that they all sit on, the Going Merry. I really like that part. And, while they did have to cut out a bunch of stuff, because time and things, they didn't really stray away from the backstories of the characters, which made me feel more resonant towards them, because in the original, Usopp, Sanji, and Nami had good-ish backgrounds and character development, but I felt that since their actual fights with Arlong, and Arlong, Mini, Beta, Kuro, who cares about Kuro? Kuro sucks. Okay, let me go on a side tangent about Kuro real quick. So he's supposed to be like this cat butler guy, right? Okay, understood. But why does he has like this weird horror movie aspect, and I don't like his bumbling side characters, and compared to all of the cool devil fruit powers that they've already introduced, he seems like a major step down. He's better than Alvida and Axe Hand Morgan because those are just guys with slightly interesting weapons, but it's still a step down, you know? Like, Kuro literally gets beaten by one punch in both the anime, manga, and live-action adaptation, and I'm supposed to take him seriously? He got beaten by one punch. He got beaten by Usopp. Usopp literally just has a small slingshot. I don't care! Tangent over. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, the characters. So, they're great. They have a better balancing issue than they do in the manga, which makes it better, in my opinion, even if the world building isn't as strong throughout. It's still pretty good. 8 out of 10. Another thing they nailed is the rewatchability aspect, or watchability in the first place. Like, the original show, no shit to it, but it's like it's like 1,000 episodes, and condensing it into 8 for the first 50 makes it a lot more watchable to the average person who might then watch the manga or anime. I don't know. I'm not very good at this terminology. But hey, you know, sometimes to get fans hooked on the thing, you have to make it easier to get in there in the first place and not be having somebody discuss the thing happening in episode 700 while you're in episode 17, you know? And even though you could consider that it's just kind of a worse version of that, there's a lot of added elements that I think help it better. Like, Kobe in the original isn't really treated as a big character, whilst in the live-action remake, him and Garp doesn't show up until episode 500, by the way. Him and Garp are shown as kind of a duality to the pirates, which I really enjoy. I mean, I like Kobe. He's probably the best character in the thing, immediately derived. Like, look at this picture and this picture. That is the same person. That is great. I also really like how they combine the aspects that are older rated and the original. Like, it is kind of a goofy comedy pirate thing, but at the same time, it's also pretty serious. Like, those action scenes hit way harder than they probably should. I like how snarky Zoro is, for example. I like his dynamic with Nami. It's more developed than in the first place. Usopp is now charming instead of just kind of being an annoying coward that he was in the original. Sanji already told him how he was good. So the characters are good on the main character side, but what about them villains? You wanted to know about them villains. Well, as I've stated, Kuro is a bit of a mixed bag. Alvida kind of sucks. Well, she doesn't really suck. I don't think her adaptation is all that bad, but she was just kind of angry big woman with sphere thing. So, you know, only so much that you can go there. Axe Hand Morgan has probably been made slightly better than the original, because I like the concept of him having an axe hand, and they show it, and the CGI wasn't as bad. Shanks, completely unrelated, was also pretty good. I think he's not as good as people are saying he is. I think it's just that people really like Shanks. Garp, who was introduced as Luffy's grandfather and didn't really have a big part in the original, is great here. I really love his inclusion. Who else? Buggy. Oh yeah, Buggy. Great, obviously. I really like his comedic timing. I guess that my opinion is, it's not for everybody. Nothing is for everybody. But if you want a relatively good comedy that's pretty well paced, has excellent characters, even better villains somehow, and with great CGI for a Netflix budget, you're gonna have a good time. I honestly would give it a solid 9 out of 10, with a couple of pacing problems, and a couple of weak villains. And remember, guys, on one last note, the One Piece is real!